Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over the water to Fyn in Denmark once again, and we're going to revisit Ugly Duck Brewing Company, who are part of Indslev Bryggeri, a specialist wheat beer brewery. And for this one we're going to have a look at the second of two beers that they have that are named after quite prominent world leaders. You saw me review the Obama yesterday, so now it's the turn of Putin, which is an Imperial wheat stout that comes in at 8.9%. This one's highly rated. It was 94 on Rate Beer and 45 I think overall within the style, so it should be quite a good beer but kind of quirky within the style. So I'm looking forward to this one, and if you've seen my reviews of the Indslev beers before, you'll know that I really rate the Indslev kind of hybrid beers that they do very highly. So I'm really interested to see how this one turns out, because Ugly Duck of course are the ones that they do that are more like American craft beers. So really interested to try this one. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other Indslev and Ugly Duck reviews. There's all the usual social media, and if you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. As always, to those of you in Denmark, do get in touch and let me know some of the other Danish beers and breweries you guys would like to see reviewed. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Ugly Duck, as I've told you many a time, Ugly Duck are one of the beer brands that are brewed at Indslev Bryggeri, who are based in Nørre Aaby near Middelfart on the island of Fyn in Denmark. These guys are on the northwestern part of the island. To the east you've got Sjælland, and to the west you've got the Danish mainland, which is Jutland or Jutland in English, and Øland I think you would say in Danish. But the brewery has roots that go back to 1897, and they're a farmhouse brewery like many of them are in Scandinavia. Gård I think is the word in Danish as well as in Swedish for farm. But these guys actually reopened as a modern brewery in 2006, and since 2012 they've also been brewing the Ugly Duck beers, which are the more American style craft beers. But the brewery is owned by Anders Rasmussen, and his great grandfather was the one who built the original brewery building back in 1897, and both of them actually grew up on the farm right next to the brewery. And like I say, the farmhouse breweries are quite common in Sweden and Denmark and Scandinavia generally. Aaby are quite a famous example of the Swedish farmhouse breweries. But Indslev were actually the first modern brewery in Denmark who did wheat beers. These guys are a specialist wheat beer brewery, and they remain the only brewery in Denmark that do this today. But due to the desire they had to brew the more American style craft beers, they started up Ugly Duck Brewing Company as a separate arm in 2006, or 2012 I think it was, sorry. And the beers have proved very popular ever since then. And the two brewers at the brewery are Stefan Peter Stadler, who is actually he's German. He was a graduate of the Hofbräu School in Munich, a very prestigious brewing school of course, and he's worked for various German and Danish breweries. And there's also Torben Steenhold, who's worked for Velje and Brockhouse breweries in Denmark. And the brewery has they also operate in the original brewery building from 1897, but they do have a Kasper Schultz brew kit from Bamberg, which is a bit of a holy grail kind of thing. But basically, if you like wheat beers, try the Indslev beers. If you like the more American style beers, then do try some of the Ugly Duck ones. The Ugly Duck ones, for me, they do excel when it comes to the IPAs and things like that. The Hop Devil, the Miami Vice, the Amarillo and Citro are my favourite ones that I've tried from these guys so far. But the dark beers, the Imperial Coffee Vanilla Porter, was really nice as well, and I'm interested to see what this guy is like as well, because it's very, very highly rated. The Rye Porter is another nice beer, so we'll see how we get on with this one. But just to tell you a little bit about this beer itself, as I mentioned, this guy is an 8.9% Imperial wheat stout. It's hot with Salaya, with a malt base of Pilsner, caramel, rye, oats, chocolate and black malts too. And just to tell you a bit about Salaya, because this isn't such a common hop, Salaya is a crossbreed of Styrian Goldings, Aurora and a Slovenian wild hop, and this one is known for its kind of noble character. It's supposed to be quite herbal and a little bit earthy too, with some floral character, so it should be quite an interesting one. I've not tried too many beers with that hop in it that I can remember. But just to read out the little blurb you get on the back of this beer, it says, Putin. Much is said about the current Russian President Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. Some see him as the nation's hero, a bare-chested Russian Tarzan swimming in ice-cold lakeside, fighting bears with his bare hands. Some a godfather in a mafia state. This here is an Imperial wheat stout loaded with delicious smoky notes. The smoothness and the deceiving alcohol content will again remind you of the Russian presidency. If you're still pondering whether this is a celebration of Vladimir, don't. It's a celebration of Putin, our new Imperial wheat stout. So yeah, should be quite an interesting one. I'm not sure. Probably Putin is meant to be a reference to the style of Russian Imperial stout. So Should be quite a nice one. We'll see how we go. And as I say, rated at 94. There's the little bit on the back that I just read to you. You can see too, product of Denmark, 8.9% ool. So yeah, 330ml bottle, plain bottle cap. So let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. Yeah. So as you can see, a nice smoky opening, and you can smell some of the nice malty notes on this one as it comes out. I think this might actually be one of the highest rated beers, or maybe the highest rated beer in the range from Ugly Duck Brewing Company. The Vanilla Imperial Coffee Porter is rated really highly as well, but this one may well be the most highly rated one. But regardless, all of the beers you get in the Ugly Duck range do tend to be pretty good within their own right. You basically just need to pick one that you like the sound of, and or it's a style that you enjoy, and you probably will enjoy it. I'd be surprised if you didn't. But anyway, this beer, as you can see, has poured a really nice kind of sort of ebony rosewood colour, I guess you would say. There's a solid finger of a frothy kind of beige tan head on this one, and just moving it around without paying too much attention to the aroma, it's a big bready and kind of sweet chocolatey note you're getting out of this one. You can smell a little bit of that wheaty character as well. But yeah, there's no colour coming through that at all. It's pitch black, a few big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones going up towards the bottom there. There is one or two little bits of sediment coming out of this one, and you can see it just on the side of the bottle too. But yeah, should be quite a nice beer for us to try. A few little bubbles just going up towards the bottom of that head there. But let's check out the aroma on this one. Yeah, that's quite interesting, that aroma, because it's very bready. You can pick up some of the kind of black malts in this one. It's got a little tiny bit of that roasted coffee malt, but overall the malt base is quite sweet. There's a good bit of toasted caramel in there. Yeah, quite chocolatey as well. There's almost a little tiny bit of smoky character as well. I do want to say that there is a little bit of smoky character in this one. And as you'll know, I love smoky beers. My favourite style of beer probably. But you can really pick up a little bit of that smoky character in this one for me, which is quite interesting. But it's the chocolate, it's got nice and chocolatey and sweet. There's a good rye and kind of oaty bread character just underneath this one. You can pick up a little bit of the black malt, like I say, sort of coffee-ish note. And that's just without sugaring it up, so we'll sugar it up and see what else we can get out of this one. Yeah, no, that black malt, the roasted character, starts to come out. The smokiness disappears actually when you sugar it up, so I would guess that maybe that's a little bit of a false aroma. But yeah, when you sugar it up a bit, you start to get a more earthy, slightly almost herbal hop out of this actually. But there's a nice bready malt base, just a tiny little bit of a red fruity ester. You can pick up some earthy hop character too. But yeah, the wheatiness for me starts to come out more when you sugar it up. Some sweet chocolate, like I say. It's a bit of toasted caramel. Yeah, some kind of toasted caramel in there. It's really interesting. There's maybe a bit of nutty and woody character in this one too. But yeah, the big bready doughy character is just underpinning this one. It's almost like a rye bread character, like a German rye bread, but there's a bit of that thicker wheatiness to it. You can just pick that up as you take a little bit of a move away from it actually, which is quite interesting. But yeah, it's a nice beer. It smells really nice. Just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma on this one. But it smells really good, so just savour it before you actually try it. But let's get stuck into this beer. So this is the Putin, an Imperial Wheat Stout from Ugly Duck Brewing Company, part of Indslev Bryggeri in Nørre Aaby on Fyn in Denmark. Skål. Oh yeah, well, that's a good beer that. This is nice. I can see why it's rated so highly. That's the first thing I'm noticing about this beer. For 8.9% as well, it maybe is on the lower side of Imperial Stout. Like Imperial Stouts of course can go way up. The highest one I've ever seen was the Tokyo Star from Brewdog, which is about 18% or something. But this one, it's so smooth. That's the first thing you notice about that. That's some of the Indslev Bryggeri character coming out in this beer. You really notice that when it comes to these wheat beers. There's just this characteristic trademark smoothness on the Indslev beers, and using the wheat malts, you know, it's the same brewers that are brewing these beers. It really does come out, and I have to admit that's something that I really do appreciate about Indslev Bryggeri. that's a nice beer. They've got a good balance between the kind of roasted black malt characters and the chocolate and caramel. It's really quite nicely done, actually. Yeah. So in the middle of the palate, you've got a nice smooth bready character that just goes right across the middle of the tongue there. On top of that, you can pick up a little bit of the wheaty character, and then it becomes a little bit more sort of spicy or something like this. There's a good bit of black malt in there, some roasted coffee-ish malt actually. There's the sweet caramel, nice chocolate in there. There's maybe a little tiny bit of licorice, but that's very, very minimal actually. You can pick up the bready character, the rye breadiness in there, the wheaty character, the chocolate is all there. But just as you start to progress into the aftertaste, you get the dark black malts and the bitterness that goes with those. That's the thing that's really kind of sticking in the middle of the palate with this beer. But this is a damn good beer. This is one of the best ones that I've had from the Ugly Duck beer range so far. I mean, all of their beers are pretty good, but this one is up there with the kind of top ones that I've enjoyed so far. Yeah, there's maybe a little bit of a woody, nutty flavour in this one, but it's kind of, that's very subtle. As I say, the main focus in this beer is the roasted character from the black malts in there. Even the wheaty character in this one fades a little bit as your palate adjusts, and the palate starts to get more dominated by that roasted kind of black malt, almost slightly coffee-ish character in this beer. Around the back corners of the palate, you can pick up the earthy hop character, and as you come further forward, it smooths out and becomes just a little bit more herbal, and that goes around the front curve of the tongue there too. There's maybe a little bit of grassy character there. You can pick up just a little bit of that noble character that I was talking about with the Celaya hop. Remember, it's Aurora, Styrian Goldens and a Slovenian wild hop that's in there. As I say, a hop that I've not come across too often, so that's another good thing about trying this beer. You get some of the flavours from a hop that isn't too commonly used actually. But this is, it's nice, I have to say. It's a good beer, you know. Ugly Duck do some really very solid beers, and this is one of the better ones that they do in my opinion. This is really nice. All the beers are good, but this one is just another, for me, this one's just a little bit better than some of the other ones that they do. But yeah, you've got a nice earthy hop character and there's some herbalness, like I say, as you come forward. There's maybe a tiny little bit of a red fruity ester coming out of this beer as well, but overall this is a very, very solid beer, and you know, it definitely is one of the best ones you're going to try from Ugly Duck. You know, if I had to pick a few beers from these guys, as I say, the Hop Devil is good, you know, the Amarillo and Citra is a really good one as well, the Imperial Vanilla Coffee Porter, there's this guy, the Putin, you know, the Miami Vice is a pretty good and sessionable beer as well. Pretty much with Ugly Duck you can pick a style of beer that you enjoy, and I'm pretty certain that you won't be disappointed with it. But this is another very, very solid beer from these guys. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again, but it's definitely a sipper. This is a kind of dessert beer, this one. When you're taking a few sips of it, you do start to get a little bit of alcohol warmth. But in terms of the mouthfeel, definitely mid-bodied. The carbonation is quite smooth. It's got a bit of an oily texture to it. A good bit of sweetness to the malt character, but like I say, there's a bit of that bitter kind of roasted character from the black malts in there. There's the hoppiness as well. The hops for me are very smooth. The earthy character at the back of the palate has a little bit of dryness, but as you come further forward it smooths out and becomes a bit more herbal. And there's a little bit of alcohol warmth there too, just a tiny little bit of red fruitiness, but for me that's very minimal, and you can pick up some of that trademark smoothness from the wheats and the malt base there. I'm surprised I'm not getting, pardon me, any caramel out of this one, because they did say that they used some caramel malts in there, but those, if they're around there, they're quite subtle, but you can pick up some of the Pilsner malt that's in this beer, very light kind of bready malt base, and then the wheat kind of just goes on top of that. But overall, very, very solid beer from Ugly Duck Brewing Company. Definitely one of the better ones, or one of the best ones that I've tried from them so far. So yeah, make sure you try this one. This is one of the best beers I've tried from these guys so far. And a big thank you once again to Mike and Anders for sending these beers across to Sweden for me to try. Thanks very much for supporting the channel. But do let me know in the comments section below your own thoughts on this beer. Always interesting to hear from you guys. Let me know what your favourite Ugly Duck beers are as well. For those of you watching outside of Sweden and Denmark, these guys are probably a brewery that you're going to find exporting soon. The beers are becoming pretty popular, so do keep an eye out for these and try the ones that I've suggested. Or just try any of them, pick a style you like, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. But until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out all my social media things, but most importantly, go and try some of the Ugly Duck Brewing Company beers. And if you enjoy your wheat beers, try the Indslev Bryggeri ones. I really like the kind of wheat hybrids that they do in that range, so make sure you check those out. But until the next time, slange just now, and I will catch you soon with more beer reviews. Coming up next is a small German series that I filmed a little while ago but didn't actually find the files for, so you can look forward to that, and then it'll be on to some Japanese beer reviews. Until the next time, slange just now, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.